So a lot of times I will utilize ladies to convey a message. If a comedian is doing a great job somewhere in the country, he just did a masterful set and nobody's gonna pay him. They just clapping. And I know he's broke as shit back there. Wouldn't it be nice if somebody just showed up and gave him a little blessing? And he didn't have to suck me off for it and thanks, Katt, and boy, I really needed it. Why would you do that? If you was actually just trying to help people, you would. People know that's how I pay my tithes. If I got paid $100,000 to be at your city, I'm gonna take 10,000 of that and put it in your homeless area. Not because I got to. Because you gave me 100 racks to come to your little rinky-dink town. Who would I be to not pay my tithes back to your town? That's how I got in this position. Wow.
So this is an incredible way of giving back to people. And this is something that, you know, traditional religions talk about and something that's a great overall reflection of character. I didn't even know Katt used to do, but it's amazing, especially in the world of entertainment. So we're going to tap into it. Stay tuned. This is Unfiltered Vitamin Z being brought to you by Zaid. So something that I remember my dad used to do, he'd give me a little bit of money. Let's say like we're at the mosque, right? The way he would give me money was so top secret, like it was a drug deal in the middle of the mosque, right? You know what I'm saying? And he would make sure that I drop it in like super fast and nobody would see, because he always said the best way of giving, I think Jay-Z said the same, but it's anonymous to anonymous. You don't really gotta tell people about what you be doing, good or bad. That's a lot of times often taught in Islam, that you got to be quiet about your bad deeds, quiet about your good deeds. Just a piece of advice. I'm gonna break this down into a couple of different ways. So for me personally, I do feel like it always serves a purpose in terms of intention, right? So for example, when someone comes to me, this is why I've always liked religious scholars that have a dark past. And we in general, men and women, respect men that have had trauma in their past. Trauma is what makes men men. So when a man comes to me and he tells me about his mistakes, tells me about his demons, tells me about certain areas of his life where he went wrong, certain bad things that he's done, and why it means so much more to do the good things now, makes a lot more sense. But oftentimes what you get from religious folk is that they tell you that they've always been righteous, that they've always been good, that they've always been decent, but you don't really know good. I mean, you can't know light if you don't know darkness. So how you know this is light? You are telling me that this is what you've chosen, this is what you've accepted, but in reality, what if it was I want to say sometimes your lack of options or lack of access, meaning you telling me you was a virgin till marriage. But is that because of religion and because of you wanting to do the right thing? Or was it because when you was 18, 19, 20, whatever, there was no fine chick that wanted to suck your dick? Meaning, had you had the opportunity to partake in the degeneracy, you would have. But we will craft a fake facade. So certain people know that they're not good people, but they will craft a fake facade of, look at the good projects that I'm doing. Or they know they do a bunch of horrible things, so they feel guilty about it. And that's fine if you do bad things. A lot of times, if you're honest about it, even though certain people would say, don't talk about your bad deeds, discussing it reflects a certain level of relatability as a human, meaning we all make mistakes, we all make errors. And if you can talk about where you went wrong and how somebody younger could avoid those mistakes, it's very beneficial. And it shows that the good things that you do has more value and meaning. But if all you want to do is talk about the good things you do and hide away the bad, it's better. You got to do one or the other, in my opinion. You are either quiet about your good and your bad, or you talk about both as a way, if that's your platform, if that's your purpose, if that's what your goal is, you talk about both as a way of motivating and inspiring people to do better and to avoid wrong. You know what I'm saying? That to me is where it makes sense. You're either doing both openly or you're quiet about both. Because people were abusing homeless population for a homeless video because they noticed those views going. Sorry, I had to revive this bitch. Almost died. So where was I? So in certain cases, people were using the homeless niche of video content because it was getting views. I will say this, that a lot of times negativity spreads, and it's not necessarily a good thing. Negativity does spread. And a lot of times it's great to show that positivity can spread just as much as negativity. It's good to reinforce that type of content, which is what I was going back to saying about from a motivational perspective. It is great to show, if you do 1,000 nice things, show one or two of those things to remind people the importance of doing nice things. Sometimes we forget that there's nice, good people out there in the world. Sometimes we forget that there are little things that we could do throughout a day to make people smile, to make people feel good, to make people feel inspired, to make people feel like someone else out there is also a decent person, that we can connect with each other, that it's not just a dark world filled with all these crimes and miseries. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it is good to showcase certain things. So I don't 100% agree with the way growing up is like, oh, don't know, you don't need to talk about the good things you do. And I feel like a lot of times we do. In this case with Katt, he was sending money to those comedians anonymously, like, hey, here's this money. And they really wasn't sure where it was coming from. Probably found out later, I'm assuming. You know what I'm saying? But if you, and he didn't have to market it, right? And he didn't have to get sexual favors out of it, because so oftentimes in Hollywood, it's like, oh yeah, I'll help you, but there's something I always want in return. And if you really care, if you really want to do something good, you don't really expect nothing in return. If you really given from a pure place, from a great intention, then you're not really expecting nothing in return. You know what I'm saying? You always want to give without the expectation of return. If you always have an expectation of return, not necessarily in the form of sexual favors, but in any form, right? Oh, I gave you this, and I expect something back from you later. It doesn't have to be sexual. It could be in any form that you desire, right? Maybe in the same level of what the gift was, or whatever the help was. But if there's always that expectation, then you didn't really give purely. You didn't really give because you wanted to do good. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, giving does make you feel good. It does make you feel better. And it is selfish, right? There's no such thing as an unselfish act. It does feel good to give. And if you chasing that feeling because you want to feel like you're a good person is a good reason to continue giving. You know what I'm saying? Of course it's selfish. Why not? Let it be a selfish thing for me to want to help somebody else. That way I feel better about myself and I continue to do bigger and greater things so I can help more people. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's more or less what I wanted to touch on when it comes to this topic with Katt. It's more important that we discuss these topics and we remind people, we remind society, we remind ourselves the importance of not just doing things anonymously, but a lot of times you don't have to look at it in terms of an instant gratification sense, meaning I'm not looking to give here, here, and here, and here, and expecting immediate God to notice immediately. It's like, nah, like in this moment, I wanted to help this person. I felt good about it. Here you go. And that's it. Keep it pushing. If you want to see more breakdowns like this, let me know other entertainers or comedians that you like watching, or any other podcast interviews and clips. This will be in a playlist specifically for Katt, but we'll be doing similar content like this. If you like content like this and you like breakdowns like this and you like commentary like this, check out Unfiltered Vitamin Z podcast. I got a bunch of audio episodes. If you just want to listen while you're driving at the gym and whatnot. If you like video content like this, then subscribe to the YouTube here, Zaid UFZ. And if you like written content with short form, then check me out on on X, same as the YouTube, ZIEED UFZ. Appreciate it. Take it easy. Stop.